Aloha, everyone. It is Friday, the 29th. Welcome to the Unity Podcast. This is episode 16. So, I thought I'd talk a little bit about a situation that is currently unfolding. As I'm sure a lot of you have heard by now, there is a gentleman by the name of George Floyd that was recently killed by a police officer in Minneapolis. So, I've tried to take a step back. Initially I didn't really want to talk about my opinion on the matter, but at the same time, I feel like I should. So I feel like this is a symptom of a much larger problem in our country. Within the last 50 to 100 years, there's been a tremendous amount of racial injustice, inequality, and oppression. And I feel like we need to have an open dialogue about this. Now, a lot of you have seen the riots that are taking place. And for me personally, initially I took a stance of not believing in, destroying property and things like that. Although I obviously did agree with the situation. It was outrageous. There was no reason for this officer to be justified in treating him that way and killing him that way, no matter how you look at it. But as I sat with it for a while, I really began to understand where people are coming from with the riots. Because here's the thing. We have been dealing with this for many, many, many years. Far too long. And a lot of people are frankly sick of it. There's a lot of injustice. So when is enough enough? Right? But I would be doing a disservice if I also didn't point out that there are good police officers out there. And it's unfortunate that these ones that are trigger happy, that seem to not give a damn, are tarnishing the reputation of police as a whole. And that's not right. Now, since this happened, there's been quite a few videos that have gone out and gone viral in their own respects from police officers in various police departments across the country that have been speaking out. And I think that is important for them to do so. Because the people need to feel like their voice is being heard and that they have people on their side. Because that's how it should be. The police is there to serve and protect, not to punish and enslave. So, I want to take this time to say that we sympathize. I sympathize with these people that are going through this, the people who have been oppressed. I sympathize. And ideally, there wouldn't be any violence, but I get it. I do. when people have been through oppression for centuries, eventually it boils over. And that's what's happening. You know, these people who have been routinely targeted by our police department or by these insane cops, they are people. They're not any different than you and I, and they have just as much right to live their lives as we do. So take this time to really understand where they're coming from. Try and put yourself in their shoes. This needs to be a period of understanding, not more divisiveness. Because here's the thing, guys. We're fighting a battle on multiple fronts right now. The main enemy we should be fighting, I feel, is this virus. But at the same time, we do need to not remain ignorant at the racial injustice in this country. And I think that this current situation has brought this to light. We need to have open dialogue. We need to be addressing this more than we have been. I feel like we've been too complacent. I feel like we've been coming from a place of, well, you know, they'll sort it out. Or, you know, because I'm not in this group, because I'm not this of this ethnicity, it doesn't apply to me. Well, it does. This society that we live in, we need to understand that there is a symbiotic relationship here to our environment and to us. And you would think that this virus has shown that. Now, maybe, I would say that for a lot of us it has. For a lot of us, we've taken this time to do some introspection and grow. But unfortunately, there's those that clearly seem to be clinging to an outdated mindset, a mindset which, quite frankly, should have remained in the 1800s. We're in 2020, guys. We're in 2020, and there's still racial tension taking place here. This has got to stop. We are all human beings, okay? This planet is our only home. So explain to me the logic of hating one another, of doing heinous deeds like this. Still. And we're in the 21st century. I believe in you. I believe in me. I believe in our species. I know that there's good in us. Hatred is taught. Now, at this moment in time, we are faced with two decisions. We can grow, we can become better than we were, and we can move forward into this new dawn together. Or we can continue business as usual, and we can fall right back into our old ways of distrust, ridicule, and we won't make any progress. Now, in my last episode, I spoke about how I firmly believe that the United States can reclaim the mantle of being a strong global leader, of being a leader that inspires. And I still believe that. But we need to choose today, right now, we need to make that decision to be better. And we can. We must. And we must never, ever forget George Floyd and the folks like him that have their backs to the wall because our society, the way that it was built, has made it so. Look, I get it. It's so easy to point fingers and blame or say something like, well, be the change you want to see. But when your group has been systematically oppressed and where the system itself is rigged in such a way that it's very difficult for your group to progress, I think that needs to be talked about. We need to address that. And for a while, when this pandemic was in full swing, I mean, it still is, but even Dr. Fauci was talking about the disparity that needs to be addressed in other minorities. Because we can see it when it comes to health, the access to foods, but also the justice system and how skewed it is. Now, I implore you, America, take this opportunity to grow, learn, because we can, and frankly, we must. See, what we need to understand is normal is how we got here. Business as usual is how we got to this point. And we can't afford to live like this any longer. Both for ourselves as human beings and our planet. Guys, this is the only home we've got. So doesn't it make sense to just reach across the table to coexist? There's no reason why we can't. There's no reason why we shouldn't. So just keep this in mind. These people who have been victims, have been targets of bigotry, of as backwards thinking. They are people too. They are like you and me. They have rights just as we do. So to my African American brothers and sisters, my fellow humans, my fellow Americans, My heart is with you. My heart bleeds with yours. We all have the same colored blood. We're all human beings. And I love you. You are not alone. We will come through this together. But always remember George Floyd. And understand that we are facing another epidemic here. An epidemic of social injustice, social inequality, racism, bigotry, short-sightedness, arrogance, willful ignorance. And we need to take this time to change, reforge this country. We can be the leaders that we once were. I know we can. And we need to be better for each other. Anyway, I know this was really informal. I just felt like I needed to speak my mind about this. Because this situation, this is just showing the latest symptom and an ongoing problem that needed to have gone away 100 years ago. Over 100 years ago. There's no place for it in the year 2020 or any year after, quite frankly. So, with that, folks, I will be posting this again to my SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/The Unity Podcast. I also have a Facebook page under Pandemonium Productions, at The Unity Podcast. You can follow me there. Please be there for each other. Love each other. Support one another. I believe in you. Anyway, I'll be back again with another episode, maybe later today or tomorrow. Stay tuned for that. Keep positive, guys. At least when it comes to the pandemic, we will come out of it. But socially, we need to change. We really do. This has got to stop. For our generation and future generations, consider what kind of world you want to leave for your children. Do you want them to be afraid? Or do you want them to be able to embrace who they are without fear of judgment, ridicule, or any kind of injustice? Think about that. Anyway, I love you guys. I believe in all of us. And I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.